Hello, YouTube. It's Silver Age Dave. I'm in the comic room. Today's Thursday, but it might as well be Friday. It's the weekend, my friends. It's Thursday afternoon, and life is so very good. There's so many great things that can happen. Whether life is good or bad, I always try to look at the good part. And one of the great parts, frankly, is this YouTube comic community has been so overwhelmingly kind and welcoming to me. Even the people that used to give me thumbs down all the time stopped giving me thumbs down, and that's a good thing. See, you always got to find the blessings in life. I had a great time answering and reading responses to my last question of the community. Okay, and I think I'm done. I might have one or two left, and it's slow going when I answer those. I hope you guys realize I don't answer them in order of popularity contest or whether I love you or not. I love all you guys. And if there's some women out there, I love you too. Mrs. Silver Age Davis first, of course. But I love you all, regardless of where you're from. If you're part of this community, you're part of this channel, I really appreciate you. So I've been reading so many great answers, and it gives me a chance to get to know so many different collectors. And basically, we all kind of have walked the same path, but there's different versions of that path. And one in particular, I was chatting a little with Nowhere Bound, who put in a great answer, equally great to everyone else's, but it got me thinking, I have another question. Okay, so I'm going to get right to it, but I'm going to show a couple books, because I always like to show books. Things that are special to me. This copy of Yang. Okay, now I've chatted a little bit with Luther Manning, that's Patrick, about this comic and this series, and there's so many great ones. When you were a child of the 70s, it wasn't really just, I gotta buy Marvel or I've gotta buy DC. It was whatever was on the rack and had a cool cover. That's the thing you went for when you were a little guy, and it was on someone else's dime. When I was young, it was my grandmother, Busha, is Polish for grandmother. She'd take me by my hand and walk me to get comics, and it was kind of my happy place. So Yang was one of those series that I loved it. It was a little bit of kung fu and some fighting, but mostly it was just a cool book to have. And there were some ghost ones that I liked too, but one of my favorite series was Doc Savage. If I saw a Doc Savage on the rack, I would always get it. And you'll notice this one's in a top loader, and that's not because there's any value to it, other than to me it's emotional that this is a book that Busha bought for me. Giant size Doc Savage #1. And this is a 1975 issue, and it's coverless, and that's because I loved it. I read it a lot of times. When you're a kid, there's some books that make it into your bed, and the books that make it into your bed, good luck. They get trashed, but that one survived. It's a beautiful one. Excuse the weed whacker outside my window. Here's another one that's special. All-Star Comics Super Squad. And a lot of you know it is the intro of Power Girl. I didn't care about all that. I didn't care about Power Girl. I cared that it was 1976. Everything in Chicago was painted for the bicentennial. It was red, white, and blue. Everyone was proud to be an American. And, I was a little guy, and that was powerful to me. And when I saw this comic sitting up on the comic rack, I couldn't help but own it. And I read the heck out of it. I clipped out a $6 Million Man coupon. I colored the last page. It's drawn in. It's beat to death, and I love it. So that's a special comic. Okay, and I've got some other ones. And I'm going to tell you what my question to the community is in just a minute. I've got this graphic novel. I've got a bunch of these, but this is a book I bought right off the rack. I just loved the New Mutants when that series came out. I've got doubles and triples and quads on it. Just was a big fan. But I read this one and loved it. So I've picked up a bunch of those. And one of my earliest treasuries, I've got probably 150 treasuries, but this is one of my favorites. This is my original Batman that Busha bought me. I don't even know what year this came out. This was in the 70s, but it was bigger than me almost when she bought it for me. So, what's my question to the community? Chatting with I'm going to say Nowhere on the last question of the community. Nowhere Bound was the name. He talked about reconnecting with the hobby, and it brought back such a strong memory for me. I remember my reconnecting, and what happened was all of my comics went into boxes. My parents had a dry, dark, cool basement, and they all went into boxes, and they got stored kind of under the steps and back just behind this desk we had where they were out of the way. And I put those comics away. It was probably 1980, end of 86, 87. And I didn't set foot into a comic shop again until it was probably 2000. Well, no, I stand corrected. I stepped into a comic shop in the mid 90s, but it didn't take. I was, working a lot of hours, and I got engaged, and I got married, and we bought our first home, and then kids start coming along, and I was just busy with other more important things. I had stepped away from the hobby, which is the beautiful thing about our hobby, is it is there when we're ready for it. Okay, I stepped away for a long time, and in maybe 2001 or 2002, I think probably 2002, I went back to my parents' home in Chicago, and I pulled all these boxes out, and I got to see these things. And you can imagine it wasn't just these, it was just stuff I hadn't seen. And I took the lids off those boxes after not seeing them for so long. And as I told Nowhere Bound, I was a cook goose. At that point, my love for the hobby was rekindled, and I was just all in again. I've taken a bunch of breaks throughout my life where I didn't collect comics. Usually they were, short breaks from months to years, but that was a long one. So here's my question to the community, okay? There's very few of us out there that didn't take a break, okay? Maybe Alan Garrett stuck with it, but I don't think so. I think he stepped away for periods of time. I think Metarog may have stuck with it the whole time, but I'm not going to speak for those guys. What I'm asking you is, what's your reconnection story? What is it that brought you back to the hobby? What's the thing that cooked your goose? What cemented it that you were just in this love affair with this great hobby and you were not going to escape? That's what I want to know. Please share your reconnection story. I kind of told you mine. You can hopefully hear the passion in my voice, how powerful that was. And that's all I've got to say about that. I am wondering about your reconnection story. That's a powerful story I'd love to hear about. Guys, I'm thinking of you. You are important. You're special. And put a smile on your face. Get out in the world and let everyone see that that you care and that you're engaged and life is good. Silver Age Dave is out.